Hi there, I'm Zorban. I'm something of a guarding enthusiast. I've been 10k, max rating, whatever you want to call it, in Det 5, many times. I do challenge climbs, and every time I see a guardian in my team, whenever he's playing tank, almost every time he's playing him, in my opinion, they're playing it wrong. Guardian as a tank, you can build him as a tank, you can be useful to the team, but he requires certain relics. So first of all, I'll show you some builds. I'll elaborate what I mean by this. So right here, this is my tank build for Guardian. Aggro upon drawing enemy attention while guarding, increased duration with character skill, Everdark Gladius, and Block Reflect and Night Invader. Now, of these things, what's most important here? Guarding attention, stamina recovery, and block reflection. You can go without Night Invaders. You can go without increased duration, but increased duration makes Guardian so much more useful day 1 and day 2. It's not too necessary for the Nightlords. It's useful for some Nightlords in certain situations like Holster and Dreglord, but it's not necessary. Anyway, there's this, and then for deep relics, health and guarding. You want to get this in your build somewhere, and also your post damage healing, partial HP restoration. Because the idea is, I don't see enough Guardians run partial HP restoration, and it makes Guardian super tanky. Obviously, this guy doesn't do any real. Let me hit him here. Let me hit him. He hits me. So you can see, if some damage, I can heal back, and you just poke it back like this. And it might not seem like much, because it's hard to show an example here, but I'll upload a VOD later of a Det 5 balances game, so you can see me use it there in a Det 5 game. But the bread and butter of Tank Guardian is simply shield poking. Before I get into this though, let me show you some other builds, because I know you can see my relics here. They're pretty disgusting with how good they are. Yeah, the repeated evasions and the negation of evading cursor would be bad in most characters. On Tank Guardian, you just block everything. You don't have to dodge, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so this is my build for Guardian, but you can do what I call budget builds. So this budget build, these are relics you can pretty easily obtain here. The first 2 relics are boss relics. Pardon me. They're pretty easy to get. There's just Everdark Gladius and Everdark Augur. Slot 3 here. I don't remember how exactly you unlock this. You might have to defeat Holster. But you buy this 3rd one in the shop, so you can guarantee to get yourself Guard Reflection. You can also just use something like Witch's Brooch. It's up to yourself. I mean, I like to have some extra ults if I was going to do something like this. And then here, you can see these relics aren't too good, but all that I've got the most important things here. Enemy attention while guarding, the respec for Guardian to give it more dexterity and strength, because that massively increases your damage. Your health bar doesn't matter. I'll elaborate more about that later. And partial HP restoration. You need partial HP restoration. Plus, if you're only getting one of them, you want +2. If you can fit in 2, like +1 and +2, that's great. Don't ever use +0, like the regular one. It's not good enough. It's super weak. Don't bother. And +1 and +2 do stack with each other. The effect stacks. The 0 regular post damage healing doesn't stack with the others, so don't bother with that. So yeah, like I got 2 builds here. One of them has Everdark Augur, and there's no shielding healing you. And then here, this one's got health recovery when shielding. Now, you will notice both of these builds don't have increased duration. If you manage to find increased duration and HP restoration, increased duration and draw enemy attention, slap it on. It's a very good relic to have, increased duration, but it's not worth dropping any of these things to help you just be a giga tank. Slot 5 here is also very good here, the guarding skill that increases your damage negation. What this does is every time you use your skill, you gain 17% damage reduction for 30 seconds for yourself and your nearby allies. 17% doesn't sound like much, but guarding negation goes 14, 19, and 24, and it lasts 30 seconds. It's longer than you might think, actually. For reference, Scholar Crab is 30% for a minute. So it's like half a crab with no real cooldown you can always use. But it's also, the main reason I use this is because I have increased physical attack power here. I otherwise wouldn't have this on. But it's on a nice relic here with a good curse, so I slapped it in. Anyway, so shield poking. Let's talk about shield poking for a second. shield poking is going to be how you play this game, how you play Tank Guardian. It is what makes him extremely good, and not enough people abuse this. When you're shield poking, you cannot be displaced. So, let's take Holster for example. When Holster roars to the sky, then dashes through a target. If you're playing Guardian, and you may have had this happen to yourself, where you're in your steel guard, Holster dashes through you, he knocks you backwards, you do that backflip animation. Here's a fun fact for you. Guardian in steel guard, when he's not back, does not have iframes and vulnerability frames. So what happens is Holster will turn around and slap you in the back and kill, and maybe not kill you, but do massive damage. Other characters, if you just have a regular block on, not inside Guardian's passive, and you get knocked back, you are invulnerable for the full backflip and back roll animation, much like how Executor's invulnerable while he's backflipping after deflection. Guardian, for whatever reason, doesn't have this invulnerability because FromSoft does not like birds. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Anyway, my point is, if you shield poke the attack as he goes through you, you do not get displaced. You don't move an inch. So this is really this is your bread and butter. You just go in front of an enemy, any boss, and you're shield poking to not get moved backwards. For Holster, this is quite good because you keep him in place. He's not knocking you around. You can see when things like Draglord, things like Balancers, some of them have Balancers, the big worm. I'm going to show a VOD of me doing this technique to the worm in Depth 5. But the worm, if you just shield poke as the worm goes through you, you do not get hit. Sometimes. If the worm is doing the zigzag, it can turn around and hit you in the back with its tail. But more on that later. I'm rambling. I should be more organized with this. Anyway, your stamina bar. Your stamina bar is Guardian's health bar. Your health bar doesn't really matter. You're not looking to have full HP negation, but it's nice if you have it. It's not a priority. I'll talk about weapon passes later, but your health doesn't really matter. Your stamina bar is what matters. Your stamina bar. So let me just get this guy up here so I can show you. Is it not gonna? Okay, there we go. So my stamina bar is decreasing. Pretty much whenever you're below half stamina, you have to respect the boss when you're below half stamina. When you're below half stamina, it's time to stop poking, and it's time to look for an opening to back up. So you dodge away, baby. I mean, I know he hit me there, but most enemies either back up a second or dodge backwards, something. Regain some stamina, go back in. Also, about this relic here, this slot 2 relic, taking attacks improves attack power. This works on chip damage, so Gladius with his fire damage, Everdark Gladius, he hits you through the shield and does fire damage to you. Any elemental damage, but that's just an example. That does activate your increased damage. I believe it's 15% damage for 10 seconds, something along those lines. It's pretty good. The more damage you do with shield pokes, the more you heal back as well. What else is there to talk about? Weapons. So weapons, you don't have to use halberds, but you have to use something that you can shield poke with. So the 4 weapons for that are halberds, thrusting swords, spears, and great spears. Of this list, spears are the worst. It's basically never a good idea to use spears. I would say never. Sometimes there might be a very good passive and one that drops, but in all my Guardian games, I've never once sat down and said, that's a good spear, I'm going to use that. I never think it's worth it. Halberds, it depends on the boss weakness. If you're against Holster and you find a golden halberd, you're good to go. But it does depend, because most importantly is this. If you find a weapon that has health restoration on hit, that is your weapon. Because it's probably going to give you 8... I think the value is 8 health per hit. For increased duration, every tick of the winds is giving you 8 health back. Every time you do a block reflection, you're getting 8 health back. Every time you do a shield poke, you're getting 8 health back. It doesn't sound like much, but it's significant. It heals you back up quite a lot. Whenever you find a weapon with that, whenever you find a purple or red weapon with that passive, and it's something you can shield poke with, that is your weapon. If it's on a blue weapon, hold on to it for a while if it's got another good passive on it, but you probably want to prioritize a red weapon. Especially if it's got boss elemental weakness. It depends game to game. Depends what boss you're fighting. Greatshields. Greatshields... Well, the standard Greatshield is fine for every situation. Of course, this thing doesn't have any passives. So, what I do is, every game, I will upgrade this to +1. and I will go out my way to do a mine or get my team to come and do a mine. If there's statues, I will ult and break the statues. Keep in mind though, breaking a statue with Guardian ult can be quite irritating. You have to directly land on the statue. You can land right behind it, and you will miss. Despite the if I ult here, look, there's a pretty wide range of damage on the dummy there. Okay, no, it's not that far, but look over there. That dummy took damage from that ult. If that was a statue, the statue would not be broken. You have to land on the statue to break that, so keep that in mind. Anyway, yeah, keep a +2 stone nearby and play the game. If you find a better shield, if there's a full HP negation shield in the shop, use that. If there's a continuous health recovery shield in the shop, use that. But you can just have a +1 shield, and you can upgrade it in the Spirit Shelter after the Day 2 boss. Unless you're against Balancers, you might want an upgraded shield for Mohg, because Mohg is the real boss. Balancers, both versions of the fight, are no problem for Guardian, but Mohg is easily the hardest Day 2 boss in the game by far, so you want to prioritize. Mohg is the Nightlord for any Balancer run. Sometimes you'll fight Demon Prince, good for you, it's an easy win, but always plan around fighting Mohg in Balancer runs. Right, so that's that. Let's talk about weapon passives. I've got a little fancy little image for this. I think it's this one. Let's see. Yes, here we are. So, I've ordered them. Any weapon passive not on this tier list here is not worth picking up. You could pick it up just to have filler, but it's nothing you should keep in your final build. You'll see, let's start with the top of S tier here. So like I said earlier, health restoration upon landing attacks. This is extremely good. Even against Balancers, it's good to have, because the same idea, you have to plan around fighting Mohg. If you know already if you're going to fight Mohg on the Day 1 boss, so if you fight Demon Prince's Day 1, it's not going to be Mohg. You don't necessarily have to go for this. But, you know, like I say, if there's Mohg coming, plan around Mohg. The guy is terrifying in Depth 5. He will fuck your shit up. I'm dead serious. If you know, you know. Beyond that, you want 2 damage negation passives. You want taking damage negation, and you want guarding ups negation. These 2 will stack with each other, and the effect is quite good. So what will happen is you'll be in your guard, you will get hit, you lose health, they activate, you shield poke the health back, the negations are still active because they last, I believe, 5 or 6 seconds after they activate. They don't end in one attack. And so the idea is you constantly tank damage, you constantly poke it back up, and so on. Improved guarding ability. What this passive does, it increases the amount of guard boost your shield does. And what that means is you lose less stamina for tanking attacks. You can go without having any of these, but having at least one, I feel, makes a pretty significant difference having at least one of these at 15 or 20%. Or is it 22? Whatever the biggest value is. The lowest one at 10%, if you find it, you can use it early game like Day 1, because it helps you out when you only have a blue shield. But don't carry that to end game. Drop a 10% guarding ability for something else. Any kind of negation, even some damage, something. Improved damage negation at full HP. The reason this one is an A tier and not S tier is because sometimes when you're shield poking, you will not be restored back to full health, and then it's useless. Meanwhile, taking damage and successive guarding are always going to be active because you're always going to be shielding. So beyond that, improved melee attack power. Sometimes you just get free slots. Melee attack power will increase the damage of your shield poking. Simple as. You don't want to pick up full HP attack, because similar to full HP negation, fairly often you will not be full health. You will be slightly below, like in the range between 85 to 95. It's not uncommon to be around that range while you slowly heal back up with your passives and post-damage healing and so forth. Improved damage negation at low HP. This one's pretty low down, and it probably should be in C tier, because you're essentially never at low HP. This activates when your health bar is at 40% or lower. Tank Guardian is either going to be near full health or dead. There's not really an in-between. And, because at least in Depth 5, in lower depths you'll get hit a bit and sometimes you'll be fine, but anyway, if the only time I would really say equip damage negation at low is if you find the talisman that gives you 40% negation when you're below 40% health. That can come in handy, but all the other weapon passive values are too low, really, I think, to bother picking up. charge attack negation. Similar to the top two, this one does not end after one attack. It lasts for about 5 seconds, but you're not going to have many openings to do charge attacks, because while you're shield... I forgot to mention this about shield poking. While you're shield poking, if you have the draw enemy attention while guarding, you are constantly building aggro. And whenever you stop to do a charge attack, you are not building aggro. So is it worth it to drop it and do a charge attack? And especially if the boss is ever trying to attack you, you're not getting a charge attack off. I don't really think it's a good idea. It's okay for day 1 and day 2, but when you're getting near the end of the game and you're planning for the Nightlord and day 2 boss, this is a pretty whatever thing to have in your inventory. I would say avoid it if you can, but it's fine for day 1, day 2. Successive attacks are quite good. You activate them easy enough with shield poking. The problem is, successive attacks go away after taking one instance of damage. And you're taking damage constantly if you're doing your job correctly. Unless it's a purely physical enemy you're fighting. So you have to shield poke 6 times to activate successive attack negation. 6 is a big number. I don't believe your guard reflection, your block reflection, your relic, I don't believe that one builds up successive. And I don't believe your skill does either, based off some other videos I saw about the successive stuff. So I don't think this is really worth picking up too much. If it's there, pick it up, but it's not a priority at all. In C tier, attacks generate... So this is when you have the charge attack passes on red weapons, where you generate magma on a charge attack, holy shockwaves, things like this. I would say they're very good for day 1 and day 2 because they really help you give you a bit of extra DPS, and it lets you help generate aggro on enemies. I mean, you might be fighting an Air Tree Avatar, Ulcerated Tree Spirit, you know, I don't know, an Ancestor Spirit, things like this where they're big, you can't really shield pull them too effectively, but you can do a charge attack with a weapon and do some extra damage with these things. It's nice to have for that reason. It's not awful to have this on, if your endgame weapon, if you say you have a thrusting sword and you have one of these passives. The thrusting sword charge attack is fast enough that you can probably get a charge attack off, then go back to blocking. But in general, with a halberd, with a great spear, with a spear even, I wouldn't bother. Continuous HP recovery. It's nice. It's a bit like having another Everdark Augur relic on. Because Augur, you take Everdark Augur for the health regeneration, not for the extra health. The extra health doesn't matter, it's just for the health regeneration. So this could be nice. I would never prioritize it over increased melee damage, because the increased melee damage makes your post damage healing stronger, and you'll end up healing more damage than you otherwise would. It's up to yourself what you prefer. If you don't have anything better, use it, but it's definitely not a priority over anything else above it. Now, the last one there, the text got a bit mangled, but what that says there is improved magic, fire, holy, or lightning negation. Any of the specific elemental resistances. The only reason this is on the list is because if you don't have good resistances, and you find fire resistance, and you're possibly fighting Mohg, pick up the fire resistance. I'm dead serious. Yes, I'm back on Mohg again. He is the most dangerous day 2 boss. I can't stress this enough. Things like Dancer, right? See, Dancer, a lot of people think Dancer is terrifying. Not for Tank Guardian. You enter your shield, you shield poker, she does the spin to win, you tank it all, no problem. I'm dead serious. Mohg though, every time Mohg triggers a bleed on you, you drop your stance for half a second. During that half second, he can slap you and kill you. So that's why things like fire negation might be quite good. Again, only if you have the room. I would never pick up magic negation for Holster, there's no point. Holster is your best boss, but let's talk about bosses now actually. Is it bosses now? No, not yet. Let's talk about Dormant Power passives. These things. So again, anything not on this list is not worth picking up. Sometimes you'll get screwed over, and if you get options that aren't on this list, just pick whatever, it doesn't matter. So just again, start from the top. Health recovery upon successful guards. It's a very little amount. I think it's like 3 extra health upon guarding. But that matters. It's very nice to have. I would take this always. Always prioritize it. Or is it 10 health? Regardless, whatever the amount is very good. Pick it up. Always use it. Health recovery upon successive attacks. Similar to successive negation, you have to land 6 shield pokes to activate this. But the health is good. Unlike successive negation, it's not some kind of one barrier that goes away after taking damage. The health recovery is very good. It's health restoration for free. Take it. Improve the Fate negation. You are immune to physical damage. You have a shield. Assuming you manage your stamina properly. Don't forget, every time you're half stamina, back off on the boss, regen. You don't have to regen all the way. Go up to maybe 75, 3/4 of your stamina bar, then get back in the action. But, yeah, so affinity damage negation. That's very good. Take this. Improved dodging. The reason improved dodging is an S, even though I tell you probably shouldn't be dodging, is because this gives you 3 extra frames on dodging. Guardian has got the worst dodge in the game, so these 3 extra frames make him have... I believe this makes his dodge the same level as Scholar's, and I know Scholar's dodge you might think is not very good. It's good enough. Take this. It doesn't stack though, I believe. I think it's only one time, 3 extra frames for dodging, so take it one time. If it offers you a second time, take something else. The reason you might pick this up... depends on the boss. If you're against Everdark Gladius, you don't want to tank the super move. You want to dodge his big attacks because you. I'll talk about that another time. Hold on. I'll talk about that on the night when we get to Nightlords. Improved flash restoration. Sometimes you might mess up. You take a big hit. This helps you heal back to full. Ideally, if you can find 1 or even 2 of these. It really helps, because if you can drink and go back to full HP, you know, you're brilliant. But since you're playing Guardian, you don't have to be full HP. If it gets you at least most of the way, that's good enough. Increase maximum health. It's on the lower tier of S tier. Everything I've talked about before, I would take over this. But it's still good to have. It's simply more health. And just think of it like an extra safety net if you get caught out and you mess up somewhere and you get hit. Because some attacks will dead angle you and hit you from behind. I'll talk about that about some of the bosses when we get to the boss section. Improved alt art gauge charge speed. Typically this is only offered after the day 2 boss. Your decision to take this depends, because if you're playing with a team that is constantly dying, you might want to pick this up, because this will speed up how often you can resurrect a 3-bar teammate with your ult. It's pretty good. It's gives you a few more ults, and especially when your Guardian ult comes back very quickly. Sorry, I need to take a drink of water. Hold on. Increased stamina. Stamina. Honestly, I should have this higher up. The tiers aren't organized in best to worst inside the tiers. I just have them listed. Increased stamina is one of your better ones, because like I said earlier, your stamina bar is your health bar. If you have stamina, you will not die. You will be fine. If you run out of stamina, you are dead. So increased stamina really helps you out. Periodic giant glint blades. These things are goated. A charge attack with a halberd does somewhere in the range of 32 stance damage, to give you context. The 3 glint blades, when they connect, do 26 stance damage. So they really help you out in stance breaking bosses, and they also contribute a nice amount of damage, considering, well, you don't do that much, and it helps you keep boss attention. So these are very good to pick up. Stars while walking. Stars are good because if you have stamina recovery on, so if you have the Everdark Gladius relic on, every tick of the stars will generate stamina. It doesn't matter how much damage the stars do, just as long as they deal any sort of damage, they will give you stamina back. More stamina means you live longer, you can shield poke longer. It's good. It's good. And finally, a Wending Grace is a Wending Grace. Above everything else, you take this. If you already have 1 Wending Grace, maybe you can not take this. A second Wending Grace can be whatever. You only need 1. But if it's a boss you really struggle with, take a second. But anyway, if it's your first Wending Grace, take it. It's you're throwing the game if you don't pick up a Wending Grace. Sometimes you'll get offered a very, very good item, and you think, damn, I really want that weapon. I'm sorry, if it's a Wending Grace, you have to pick this up. If your goal is to win the game. If you just want to have fun, you can do something else, of course. All resistance up. The reason this is not an S tier is because certain bosses don't really do anything. Like, balancers don't do anything. Everdark balancers, I'll talk about that later, but you should never get bled by Everdark balancers. Dreadlord, this can be decent at, but if you have 2 of these in Dreadlord, you won't get rotted, assuming you don't get hit by any geysers. But you can also just not pick this up for Dreadlord. Getting rotted is not the end of the world, because you are not a character that relies on full health negation. Taking damage and guarding negation, like I said, these 2 will keep you alive. So, and most of what Dreadlord does is physical anyway. Well, I'll talk about that when we get to Dreadlord. Hold on, again when I get to the boss section. What else? Holy Ground. Holy Ground is a bit similar to low HP negation. It's nice to have it because when the Holy Ground appears, it gives you 20% negation inside the area. It follows you, it repositions to wherever you run for the duration that it's active, and it heals you. So it's nice. Sometimes you might mess up, you get hit, and Holy Ground is like it's like an insurance because you can drink your flask and low HP negation would disappear. Holy Ground does not disappear. It remains for the duration. I think it's maybe 30 seconds. So it's nice. Never would take it over any other S tier option, but if it's offered, why not? Crits heal crits heal you. Crits healing is not bad because similar to having an Iron Eye, how stance works in this game is anytime the boss is not being attacked, it will start losing... think about stance like a health bar. It will start regenerating stance health anytime the boss is not being damaged. So if you're in the boss's face, constantly shield poking, you are constantly stopping his his stance bar from regenerating. Every time you touch him, it gets paused. So you're typically going to be in the boss's face, which means you'll typically be the first guy to get the crit in. Which is it just means it's free healing. So it's nice to have. Character skill cooldown. This is only good if you have increased durations, because increased duration does fairly good damage, and because it's a lot of small individual hits, it does a very good job of building up enemy attention. So the more skills you can get off, the better. And also, if you have the Guardian's relic that makes you tankier when you use your skill, it plays into that nicely. Improved physical attack. Your shield pokes are stronger, you do more damage, your winds are stronger, your ult is stronger, your block reflects are stronger because the block reflects are physical damage, and the more damage you do, the more you heal with post-damage healing. So this is good. Yeah, there's not much to say, it's just good. Gradual restoration. Your mileage may vary. I personally am not a big fan of this flask. I don't know, I just like to have the instant flask heal, because typically if I fuck up and I have to drink, I have to heal fast before I get hit again and die. But that's mainly me panicking. It depends about yourself. If you've got a cool head, maybe you're fine with this. I don't like the risk. I like to get, like, let's use an example of Everdark Balancers. If I fuck up on the worm and I get hit, I would rather heal back my full amount of health instantly, rather than waiting for it to slowly build up, and if the worm hits me a second time, I'm probably going to live if I have the instant heal. If I have the slow heal, there's a good chance I've not healed enough and then I just die. So think about your situation. It's good for someone like, say, Moog, I guess. Moog it's alright for. But it depends on your Nightlord, depends what you're fighting. So think about what you're doing and see if it fits your situation. Effetti attack power. It depends on your weapon. If you've got like a Holy Halberd, if you've got Loretta's Halberd, it increases the elemental damage in those things. It's not very much, it's a very small amount of damage. It's just only really pick this if there's no other better option. Stamina recovery. Well, you don't recover stamina inside your passive, inside your Steel Guard. You do recover stamina when you're just guarding like a regular person, a regular character. So it can be nice for that, but you never really want to stay in regular guard unless you're walking up to an enemy, because you can approach an enemy while holding your guard and do a regular sprint. You'll remain guarding, and the reason you want to do this is because you'll be building aggro the whole time. With your guarding increases enemy attention, So it can help with that, but I would never pick it over any other option above it. Increased damage upon after critical hit. Similar explanation to the crit healing passive. Only what this does is it puts you crit an enemy, they take 15% extra damage from everyone, not just yourself, I think for 30 seconds. So it's kind of like a support passive to pick up. I wouldn't pick it against, say, Balancers, because you typically are never going to crit Balancers unless you parry them, and you're not going to be parrying. Well, you can be, but I'm not going to parry, I'm awful parrying. But if you're against, say, Dreadlord, it might be worth picking up, because sometimes it's not hard to crit Dreadlord. A lot of the times, you'll crit him like 3-4 times over the match. That's 3-4 times you can do this crit and get the extra damage on him. C tier, you're never really using a bleed weapon. Sometimes you can, like say the Bleed Ruin and the DLC map can maybe give you a weapon with bleed on it that you might like. But I mean, this is really just like, if you get maybe off with the Mo Great Spear, you can bleed with that. But typically, you're never really going to be proccing this. If your teammate bleeds something, like say you have an Executor or a Scholar and they bleed the enemy, you'll get a damage buff. I think it's 20% for 20 seconds or something along those lines. But, I mean, you're not doing, like, bursts of damage. You're just a constant, slow DPS drain with your shield pokes. To give you some context, for shield poking, late game, if you're matching the boss's weakness, and if you've got a build similar to my strong build that I showed you at the start of the video, you'll do somewhere in the range of 500 to 600 per shield poke. And so, you know, getting a bit of damage bonus in that is nice, but it's kind of whatever compared to everything else. Flame and Frenzy while walking. Doesn't do enough damage. This thing does like 110 damage per instance of damage. It's awful. It's really bad. You're never going to proc Madness on Libra. You're never going to like tag Noster in the past fight to put the fire dot on him. Just don't bother. I mean, if there's no other option, take it, but Ice Storm Sprint. Take this if you like how it looks. It's a nice little effect to sprint, and you can admire the sound effect. I'm dead ass. That's the only use for it. I mean, when are you going to use this? Lightning upon dodging. Now, this thing goes up to S tier if you're fighting Darkdrift Knight, the horse, the holy horse. Because the holy horse, if you have the lightning upon dodge, simply dodge into him at melee range, and it will instantly break his stance when he does the spear attack. You know the one where he channels for a second, and then he summons a whole bunch of spears, and then your team gets wiped? Lightning upon dodge will always interrupt him every time with one dodge. So take this against Darkdrift Knight. It is S+ tier for that boss. Every other boss, only take it if there's no other option. Similar to this next one, Poison of Rot trigger continuous health recovery. Take this versus Dreadlord. It really helps out, because you are probably going to get rotted by Dreadlord. You can take it versus Sentient Pest, but if you get poisoned by Sentient Pest, you're doing something wrong. You got to pay attention to the moth. And that's about it. Well, that's all I will say about that. Sudden enemy death upon attacks. If you get offered this early game, if you get offered this day one, the other options are bad. It's okay, because it helps you kill some things quicker. But it's a pretty bad passive. You know it's a bad passive. If you've played this game before, you know it's a bad passive. But it's not the worst thing in the world. They're down at D tier. Dragon's Wound is awful. FP, all the FP ones here, you're not using FP as Guardian. Don't bother. Now, this might seem controversial or strange, but it makes sense. Listen. Guard counters activate holy attacks. Guard counters summon the Skelly Bros. This shit is bad. This shit's really bad. Even on a guard counter build, these things are kind of... They're not bad, but they're mediocre. What do these things do? These add roughly 200 damage to your guard counter, with the effect that happens after a guard counter. 200 damage is nothing. I could blow my nose of 200 damage. Your skill, without increased duration, does like 450. That's a better use of your time. Guard counters are awful. Never, ever, 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 ever use guard counters. I could do a separate video about guard counters, about a build that you can do good damage on, but don't ever play a guard counter build if you're trying to win the game. They're awful. They're awful. You can do it in maybe depth 1, 2, and 3 where enemies don't hit you as hard, but here's what happens in depth 4 and 5. You press guard counter. You do somewhere in the range of with a good guard counter build. You press guard counter. You do somewhere in the range of 2,000 to 4,000 damage. You lose 60-70% of your health to the boss hitting you before you can recover and block again, or dodge. But even blocking is too slow. You drink a flask. You do this 5 to 6 more times. You're now out of flasks. The boss is more than half health, and you lose the game. Don't do guard counters. They're bad. You can do them versus Sentient Pest, but that's for a different video. But for every other boss... Okay, regular bounces as well. But that's for another video. It's for another video. Don't take these passives if you're playing Tank Guardian. It's a waste of time. You're never going to press guard counter. You never should be pressing guard counter. Don't do it. Improved physical negation. The reason this is in D tier, you are invulnerable to physical damage. You have your shield. Sometimes you will get hit, but with your negations, you will be fine. Even just Guardian passively, you're pretty tanky. Just you can take a physical hit, even without full HP negation. You'll be fine. Don't take this relic. Don't take this passive. Of course, if the game offers you 2 dogshit weapons, and the third one is this option, then take the physical negation in those situations. But if it offers you physical negation and anything else on this list, take something else on this list. Improved poise. The reason I put this in here is because there's some weapon passes that aren't on this list because you never ever should even consider them. I'm putting this here because some people might be wondering or thinking, Zorban, what about poise? Poise is useless. Poise doesn't do anything. Well, I mean, that's a lie, but it's useless for Tank Guardian. It doesn't do anything when you're blocking. It doesn't affect how much stamina you lose for taking attacks. It doesn't affect anything when you're shield poking. It doesn't do anything. All it does is stop your character, it makes your character harder to flinch when you're attacking. So that's good for Undertaker, it's good for Wilder, it's very good for Raider. But it's not good for Guardian, because you basically have infinite poise when blocking anyway. It doesn't matter. Never take this as Guardian. If you get offered this and 2 dogshit weapons, drop one of the dogshit weapons, maybe your team wants one of them. Never take this. Anyway, that's my little ramble about this. Now, lastly, let's talk about Nightlords. Nightlords. Where are we? We're on this image. So, this is what I think the breakdown is for Tank Guardian here. I'll start from the top and well, let's start with Everdark Libra because he's in his own tier by himself. You are never, ever going to play Everdark Libra. Sorry, fuck. Guardian versus Everdark Libra. Don't do it. Simply just don't do it. Because you can tank Libra, you can tank the turret, you can tank the sigils on the floor, you can shield poke all the health back, you will not die. To Libra. The problem is the Guardian Condemned is the Terminator. Like Raider, he's got way too much health, but unlike, okay, Raider Condemned is not that hard to kill. One of them does have a great shield, but he's whatever. The Guardian Invader, every variant of him, is tanky as balls, and he just walks at you. He's got far too much health, and he just comes at you. And normally Guardian has like low damage, so whatever, but the Guardian Condemned in Depth 5 and Depth 4 has got NPC depth scaling. He will slaughter you, and he just keeps coming and coming and coming. And especially if you get very unlucky, one of the variants for Condemned for Guardian is he has the legendary spear, and so he will stand 10 miles away, activate the Grand Sack's lightning spear skill where he throws it, and he will hit you for your entire health bar and kill you. Don't do it, because you're just going to lose. You're probably going to lose the game versus Everdark Libra if you're playing Tank Guardian. If you're playing like some crazy guard counter damage Guardian, you could do it potentially, because you will one-shot like every Condemned with guard counter. But I mean, again, I wouldn't. Just pick a different character. Do your team a solid. Because it's not just yourself that deals with the Guardian Invaders, the Guardian Condemned, sorry. The Condemned will also chase your teammates. And the cute little recluse that's being chased by a tanky as fuck Guardian is going to be crying our eyes out and screaming this Guardian is useless as she gets run down by him. So, don't do it. just don't do it. Anyway, let's start from the top then. Holster. Holster is your best boss. Holster, you make Holster your bitch. I'm dead serious. You just walk up to him, you poke, and every time you do a shield poke, you just don't get displaced. So, think about, I'm not even going to bother talking about Shape of Night, but, because he does only physical damage anyway, but let's talk about Holster, the phase 2 part, and all his affinity damages that you might think are going to hurt a lot. So at the start of the fight, pretty often, Holster will walk up, do that long range stab, and then when he stabs into the ground, and then he stabs the ground a second time. If you have attention, enter your stance, enter your passive, and just shield poke. You will not get pushed back, he will be in your face, and you heal back your health poking him. It sounds silly, but I'll eventually I'm going to upload VODs, guys, of me doing Depth 4. Currently Depth 4 runs, because I'm doing a challenge run to get a 100 win streak in Depth 4. But I'll put up some VOD runs soon, so you can see this in action on certain bosses. But for now, just take my word for it. Holster, it's amazingly easy. See when he flies up to the sky, and he's about to come down and do a nuke? If you just stand underneath him, enter your guard, and shield poke him as he lands, you take no damage. It looks so funny. You're just invincible. When he enchants his weapon with whatever, Sleep and Madness are annoying because if you get hit by the ground effects, you'll probably get procced by the status, and that forces you out of your block. But everything else, the fire, the holy, the lightning, whatever have you could the rot, you can just shield poke it all away. He's no problem. This guy is completely humiliated by Guardian, and the day 1, day 2 bosses or whatever, you're fine with them. Balancers. Regular balancers, much like Holster, piss easy. They don't do any affinity damage, so you're invulnerable to them. Except for one thing. When the balancers fly around to do their big fancy attack, when the pink one first spawns, you don't want to be... you need to run. You can't block the ground effect, it goes through your block and hits you. You need to run, you don't need to dodge. I believe just simply running is enough. Run, regenerate stamina when you dodge an effect, when you outrun one of the lines on the floor. So stop running for a second, regenerate stamina, run again, repeat until end. Don't forget, when the pink one calls down the spears in a row towards you, simply block it. Simply block it. There's not much to say. Everything the balancers do, they attack you. Instead of being knocked back, just shield poke them. Though, one thing I should tell you, there is 3 variants of the balancer, the pink balancer. There's this, well, all of them. There's the mace one, there's the halberd one, and there's the spear one. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because they all have special moves they can do. The mace one is fine, you can shield poke past it, it's fine. The halberd one, you can also shield poke it, you're okay. The spear one, don't shield poke. The reason I say this is because if you shield poke, she gets so close to Guardian, her spear will go through your character model and hit you from behind. So just let her hit you. Just let her bounce off your shield, you can do some damage with your block reflection. Yeah, Everdark Balancers, similar idea. I could sit here and talk about Everdark Balancers for a while, but I'm going to show you a Depth 5 game. I'm gonna post a VOD after this video of a Depth 5 Tank Guardian gameplay on Everdark Balancers, and you'll get to see what I do there. It's easy. It's just keep a cool head. You just poke down the balancer. That's all. You can also shield poke the worm. You will not get knocked back, and you will not get damaged. You'll see in the video. But Everdark Balancers are also, they're chill. These 3 are very good Guardian fights. The horse here for Fulgor, Dark Drift Knight, similar concept. Everything he does, you can just shield poke. You will not get knocked back, and everything he does with the goopy arm, shield poke it. You're fine. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about it. You're okay. Try to find the Dragon Halberd, obviously for the lightning damage to break him. Now, if you're unlucky, if you at least have a halberd, what you can do is, if you always want to be in melee range of him to make sure you can interrupt his attack. So if you're in melee range of him, do one-handed halberd, do 1 charged attack, then quickly do 1 uncharged charge attack. And that will be enough to break his stance solo every time. If your team's there and they're not trolling or awful, 1 charge attack is more than fine. But if your team is both downed, the attack is coming, make sure you interrupt it first, then go revive them. One thing to note about Everdark Horse, when he shoots the arrows in the sky and they rain down upon you, don't block this. You can block this, you will be fine, but you will take crazy damage, even shield poking. Don't do it. Just avoid that attack and block everything else. Dreadlord. Dreadlord is a pretty chill fight. There's not much to say. You just... The most dangerous part about this fight is, like, I don't know. What is the dangerous part of this fight? The lines. When he throws the lines on the floor, you can't block that. I mean, you can, but it does serious stance damage, stamina damage. Just run away. But everything else, you can block this guy. One thing you have to watch out for is he will drag his weapon back in and hit you from behind. Simply just... You can either turn... You get 2 options. On-target Dreadlord. Turn your character slightly to the side, and you should block the attack. If you can't manage that, you can just take the hit. Even Depth 5, you can just take that hit and block everything else. You'll be okay. Gladius, it's fine. He's an easy boss to tank. Keep in mind, when he splits into 3, if you ever have more than 1 dog chasing you, run. Because you can maybe tank it, but much like a real-life wolf pack, they will probably just surround you and attack you from all sides. And you don't have a 360 block. The reason regular Libra is an A tier is because you block everything this guy does, and you're always on a low cooldown where you can interrupt his meditation twice. If the game is, if it's a long game, you can interrupt his meditation twice with your ult. But everything he does, you can block it easy. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, you take less madness build up when you're blocking. When you're in your steel guard with all your negations active, you take less status build up. So it's not a big threat. Just remember to pick up some of the madness orbs to reduce your madness gauge as it fills up. It's whatever. But the reason he's not an S tier is because if you ever pick Guardian for Libra, pardon me, in Deeper Night, you're trolling. Because it could result in being Everdark Libra, and then you've just lost the game. So just never play Guardian versus Libra in general. But I thought I'd give his ranking for A tier. For the regular Libra, I mean. Pest. The reason I'm just here in A tier for Pest is because Pest is the easiest boss in the game, regular Pest. Guardian's fine for it because you can easily tank everything the Scorpion does, but pick a character that does more damage. You don't need Tank Guardian for this fight. What are you doing in this fight as Tank Guardian? You know, it's not needed. Pick something else. Caligo. Regular Caligo, it's a similar thing to regular Pests, only the only reason Pest is an A tier is because pretty much everything regular Pest does to you if you stand near the Scorpion is going to be physical damage. Caligo does a lot of magic damage, and so that's the only reason she's in B tier. Listen, it's against Caligo. Pick up any fire weapon and hit her. You win the game. If you don't have a fire weapon, get ready to suffer. Everdark Pest is B tier for Tank Guardian because why are you playing Guardian versus Pests? Pick a character that does real damage. Or play guard counters. They're very good for this boss. Everdark Caligo, the reason you're B tier for Everdark Caligo is because Guardian is one of these bosses that can interrupt the crystal, which means you have value in this fight. You have inherent value in this fight. So, you know, when she summons her armor, she's going to fly away. If you pre-move to where she's going to be, alt, and she's in the air, she lands and starts summoning the crystal. You hit her, but you land and hit the alt. You interrupt her. Everdark Gladius. This guy is in B tier because you can fight this guy, but the thing is, you're going to be doing very little damage, and this guy, oh, this guy is dangerous. This guy is very dangerous. This guy fucks. I mean, similar concept, when he's split into three, if there's ever more than one dog fighting you, run. You also have to, you probably want to learn how to dodge some of his attacks. If you don't know how to successfully dodge his attacks as Guardian, with the worst dodge in the game, you might not want to play Guardian versus this, in case it's Everdark. You're fine for regular dogs, but you really need to know the fight to play Everdark dogs as Tank Guardian, I think. But that's just me. And Everdark Augur, I mean, it's hard to rank Augur. Tank Guardian has the benefit of, if you're playing a build that has increased duration and it ends up being regular Augur, you're very good for handling the jellyfish, because what you do is you ping yourself, you do your increased duration skill, and all the jellyfish fly towards you and the team, and they all instantly die to your wins. That's the most value the Guardian has in that fight. Beyond that, you're just chasing Augur for 10 years, and hopefully you don't fall asleep before he puts your character to sleep. Anyway, Everdark Augur, you have a bit of value because you have a lot of health. You presumably will have negations, which is nice for this fight. And you have an instant resurrection alt, which is good because if a teammate goes down to 3 bar in this fight, it's very hard to resurrect them unless you have something like Wilder, Revenant, Guardian alt. So that's why Guardian's gotten some inherent value for Everdark Augur. Adele. The reason I've got Adele in C tier for Gaping Jaws, for both regular and Everdark, playing a melee character versus Adele is already masochistic. Playing a tank Guardian, playing a tank character, really just Tank Guardian I should say, there's not really another tank character. Playing another tank character for Gaping Jaws, what are you doing? You're going to chase him down for 10 years? You're going to get like 2 shield pokes in and then he runs off again? I don't know, man. I think it's a waste of time. There is also, a lot of his attacks will also dead angle you. If you stand in front of his mouth and try to just tank him, like, you know, come at me bitch, he will dead angle you in a lot of these attacks. You can do it. I don't recommend it, but that's just me. That's my opinion. It's up to yourself. Anyway, that was a bit long-winded. This has been 48 minutes long. Probably want to cut this down, but we'll see what you guys think. It's long as shit. I'm going to separate this into different chapters, and I'm going to post a VOD after this of an Everdark Balancer's Det 5 game, so you can see this build in action. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll probably do a Raider guide soon as well, because Raider is a character that's also very underappreciated, and I think not no one, but not many people play him properly. He's a very, very strong character. Anyway, that's for another time. Catch you later, guys.